Oh,
Is there somebody else
hi.
here already?
Yeah,
Good.
it's Leanne.
Hello, Leanne. Well done. Well done. I only just started it. What did you see when you first started? Let's see who
Um, the can you see me?
I can see. What I can see at the moment. 1 second. Let me just go to. Let me see. Let me play around for a second. I can see you when you talk. I just want it to go to. Ah, yeah. Your camera's off at the moment.
Okay.
So if I click to you, I should see you in a minute. Hopefully. There's a private message option. I'm used to using this more on my, oh, I see, I've got speaker view, so let's try.
Do you want me to try something different?
No, that's fine. I just want to see if I can, on video. Oh, it's because you haven't got your video on.
Huh.
No video
Okay.
participants. Yeah, it's fine. I had it switched that had no, if you haven't got your video on, that I can't see you, because then you won't see all the people that are there that haven't got a video on. So if you pop your video on.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi.
How you doing today? All right.
Good.
Are you a bit sleepless though?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just weird, but it's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
I just as soon as I brag about something, I swear it's like it just happens, and then the complete opposite of what I just said happens.
You got to touch wood before you do it. It's like, I daren't. It's like whenever you praise a child, if you say, you did such and such really well, you know they're going to have to disprove you really quickly, because the weight of responsibilities on their shoulders. It's like, I've got to be really good now. I can't do it. I've got to be really bad. And, I think it's the sort of subconscious level thing. Just, what's it called? Yeah, testing really, or something. Yeah,
and it's not even really that she heard me
talking about indeed.
It. Just subconsciously, it just seems to always happen.
Yeah. But she's just started a new detox, but the fever started before that, yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't get it in the mail until the middle of the week.
Yeah.
And then so I just decided to wait till this Monday. But yeah, the fever happened over the last weekend. Yeah. And
she's going to spike a fever when she's doing some healing, isn't she? She spikes fevers quite often now, but we had for a long period of time no fevers, and now quite a few of them. Is that right?
Yeah. It just was weird, just one day in bed. You know how she is when she's sick, she'll just sleep. And it broke, and then she was fine the next day. I'm just not used to that. I always think that she'll be sick with coming down with something, but it was just a fever.
It's a healing fever. I think it's a detox healing thing. Her body's just sort of saying, right, well, we're going to do this thing. We've kind of activated her immune system, because I think she's one of my patients that had Thuya really early on. If I remember rightly, I can't see my notes because I'm in Zoom at the moment. Usually I've got, as you know, I usually have my phone up here, but I want to record this. It is recording. It's recording already. I wanted to record it so that we've got it to put into the group after, so that people can see it. Yeah.
I don't know. I hope I do a good job, but
I think you always do a good job. I think you always do, and I think you always do. And despite a lack of sleep last night, you're still glowing. You still got that glowing look.
Oh, good.
You were looking so cool in your pink last time, but the change in you was quite. I knew from the moment we opened the call, I was like, "Ooh, something good's happened. Something really good's happened." I think that borax would be a benefit there.
I should have worn my pink, huh?
No, you look gorgeous, whatever you wear.
Oh, you're so nice.
Yeah, no, you do. But when I first spoke to you way back at the very beginning, I think you were struggling to even think. I think you were just so burnt. It was a struggle.
Mentally exhausted, just burned out.
Yeah, totally. So what are we coming? Oh, now I can't tell what the time is. Where's my phone? Here it is. Got my phone. I'm used to it being up there. So we've got about 4 minutes before everyone knows and comes in, because I'm just leaving them to it.
Do you need more light in here?
Yes, I could do with the light on your face rather than behind you. Yeah, that's going to be good. Yeah, that's good.
I've let some sunlight in.
Yeah, that's so much better. We've got sunshine. You can see the sunshine in my office today. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I had to close my curtain. We've just had a lovely morning. I've been walking in the peaks because we live in the Peak District. Just been walking with the little dog up some really, really high hills, really high up.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's really
great. Wow.
You have to have a look at the Peak District. If you do a little Google, the Peak District in the UK. I live just on the edge of it. It's beautiful walking. Leanne, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
You have to get everybody well and come to England. It's so green, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Wow, I love walking. I would love that.
One day.
Yeah.
One day you'll get there, won't you? Be able to do a bit more of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do get to do yoga now and meditation and things like that and go to the gym and I'm getting out more.
It's good because I think very probably you were heading for adrenal fatigue quite rapidly, weren't you?
Oh, I'm sure I had it. Because things were being
a PANS parent or a PANDAS parent, so often your health will suffer, post-traumatic stress.
And I'm surprised we made it through, but we did.
Yeah. No, you've done great. So she's been a bit aggravated with Labour meds detox, the first dose. Yeah. Do you think it's an aggravation, or it came before that dose on Monday? What do you think happened?
Just it started before that though, so I don't know if it's that or not. The aggravation and that started over the weekend after that fever.
Did you give her borax? Did you give her borax before the Monday? Did you give her a dose of borax? No.
No, I waited because she was so miserable.
Yeah.
So.
But she had a fever one night and then that picked up. She slept all day. The fever went down, and last night she didn't sleep at all. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, she went back to that. Just hyper arousal, like can't shut her brain off, and she just wouldn't sleep until like right before my alarm went off, and she slept for an hour and a half, I think, and I made her get up. She did okay with getting up.
It may be because she'd slept all day the day before as well, mightn't it? There's an element of that, possibly.
That was Saturday though.
Okay.
Yeah, she just slept normal the night before.
Yeah, I just got a reminder to tell me. So I think now hopefully we'll get some people come in. But if we don't, we'll just carry on from this point onwards. And I don't see anybody else in the Zoom meeting yet. They may struggle to get in, so I'll nip out in a second. I'll just exit full screen and just check people can come in.
Do I seem like you were getting delayed or stuff?
Yeah, no, that's because I am on my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is bad. So, because I usually Skype on data or Zoom on data, as you know, but if I do that, I can't record the meeting. So whenever I Zoom, that we're relying upon my rural, very, very rural, Wi-Fi. So what I was intending to do is tether across to my phone, but if I tether across to my phone, there's a good chance it won't work at all. Can you generally hear me though, Leanne?
Oh, yes, I can.
I'm not breaking up too much. Okay, you'll still probably be able to see me, but I'm just going to go into the background and I'll tell you what, I'm going to shrink this down if I can. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to shrink that so I can see behind it, and then I can see if anybody's trying to get in on the group and having trouble. Don't think so, not yet. Good, that's fine. That's all right, quite small like that actually. I'm just going to shrink this one behind so I can see, can move it behind and see it. Come on, shrink window. Shrink. Now I can see if there's any chat going on the group post, I can see it. And people saying, can't get in. But I don't think, maybe nobody's going to try to come in. There's quite a few people that have said they were going to come. But you never know what happens at the last minute. So we'll record anyway. So we'll see when people come in. Usually there's a bell sound and it goes ding ding like that. When I came in, I think it did that as well, because you were in before me, were you? Did you?
Oh yeah, I think I clicked on it and then I called you, so maybe that made a difference.
Yeah, maybe. We are in the right. Are we in the right? Yeah, it is the right meeting. It's the right one. I'm just checking we're in the right meeting, because otherwise that would be very funny if you and I just meeting.
Yeah.
If you called me and we ended up in a totally different meeting, everybody's like, where are they?
Yeah, I don't know if that makes a difference.
Could happen. But you clicked my link.
Yes.
Okay, we're in the right meeting. That's good. Okay. So we sort of put together a few guide questions, didn't we, the other day?
Yes.
With a mind to just padding out, looking at. You mind mentioning her name? Is it all right to mention her name, your daughter?
Yes, Taylor.
Yeah. So so I just wanted to check that it was all right for me to use her name in our consultation.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
And consultation in our video interview. So what I was thinking we would do is kind of pad out where you've come from, where what it was like before treatment, and so you just talk about it if you can.
Okay.
What are the challenges?
Her challenges, she's nonverbal, just has a few signs and words that she uses, and she just would have stomach issues, digestive issues. She wouldn't sleep, very little at night, maybe 4 hours tops. Bowel issues, sensitivities to food. She just had these horrific meltdowns. They would be set off at any time. We would never know the function of the behavior. It was just, there was no reason for it, and she would go into just a rage, head banging, harming herself, harming me, scratching, biting, pinching. She just was a complete mess. I mean, we struggled through the day, every day, until 9 years old. I finally said I have to put her on medication, because it's just, we weren't functioning. It was just getting through the day every day. So school was a struggle for her to get through her day, and home was no picnic either. So we other than that, I mean, those are the main things. It was just, always walking on eggshells. We didn't think we were going to make it. And then, of course, as we talked, I did all kinds of tests to see what her source of pain maybe was. So we went through upper and lower scope to see inside her, to see if there's something going on. They went as far as to do like an MRI to see if she had spina bifida, because she wasn't having bowel movements. And then they did a colon biopsy.
Oh,
but it was horrible, and that was the lowest point. That was after that it even got worse. Worse than it, and it was unimaginable. So I'm sure all the drugs had an effect on her, the sedation and all of that, and we were just in a world of hurt. I mean, it was just a disaster. And
then she went on to risperidone and tramadol. Is it tramadol? Not tramadol.
Trazodone.
I always get that one wrong.
Sleeping. And the risperidone, and we are just down to a single dose. Very small dose daily. But that was our biggest wow, that she's able to come off the meds and stuff.
I'm really pleased. I'm just going to change 1 second. I'm going to gallery view so we can see each other. I'm really pleased, because otherwise when I talk it's flicking back between us. I'm really pleased she's coming off the risperidone, because it's not tested for children. It's not a medication that's been tested in children. So it's not even a medication that's recommended for children, but it's used quite frequently for children, which I was quite surprised by, when it's actually it's not tested, or it's not a children's medication.
Yeah.
So, you know, we know that it's got some horrible side effects. So it's going to be wonderful to get her all the way off that. It's a massive achievement to get her off that. She's done some massive healing to be able to come off that, because it's antipsychotic, isn't it?
Yeah. And she, you know, we were looking back on your notes, your case notes, and discussing it with my mom. My mom's with her every day also. And we just, you know, the changes are subtle, but when you look back and you realize how far you've come just in this year,
they're accumulative, aren't they? They pile up. They might be subtle, but they kind of come in a pile, don't they? Eventually, the pile is quite massive.
Yes.
When you live with somebody every day, it's difficult to see the changes sometimes. Yes. So sometimes people say that they've had family visit, and that's when they see the changes, because the family will say, they couldn't do this last time, or I would have expected that. And then they think back to times when they were away with the family, or the family were there, and they think, yeah, so-and-so couldn't do that when they were there. And that's when we start to be able to calibrate, isn't it, and measure it.
Yeah, another big wow was she's able to stay with my mom for a few hours, and while I leave the house, and that we couldn't do that a year ago. She would just have a massive fit. And you know, I have a babysitter now, and I can get out, and I mean, that wasn't even possible before. And she's able to just accept things and be more compliant and happier and calmer. And it makes everything just so much nicer.
More livable, isn't it?
Livable, yeah.
Because before, I think it was a situation that was just breaking you, really, in all honesty, because it's a situation where you can't take respite either. You know, as a mum, you're pretty sort of stuck in that situation. Nobody else can care for her because she's unable to accept it, and so on. And also because she was quite dangerous to people. She's a big girl, isn't she?
Yes.
She's
as big
14
as I am
now, isn't she? Yeah.
She's going to be 14 soon, next month. And it's a lot, you know, and you can't just get anyone to care for her. But I mean, social situations right now, that's unfamiliar situations, like going in public, is so hard still hard. But between school and home, and that is just amazing how she's doing, really is.
My concern when children get to sort of 14, 15, is that you're getting to a point where they're as big as you or bigger than you, and if you've still got that level of violence, it can become unmanageable in the family. And then you're a potential that you really can't manage in the family. You can't manage with her at home. And that's, you know, that's the point at which I feel very sad about, that if we haven't managed to deal with the aggression and the violence side of things, that you're going to get to a point where maybe she would need to be in an institution where people can restrain her, and where people are safe, because, you know, you get to a point where you're not safe to be around her, and other people aren't safe, and she's not safe. So I think that's the thing that touches me most in her case. And in another case of a girl who I was treating in Africa. She's just moved house, so I haven't seen her for a little while, but they were really getting to the point where staying at home was going to be very difficult. And so we really needed to deal with the self-harm and harming other people. And that's a massive it's a massive point for me, because as long as you can keep her home and you have charge of her care, you can make progress. But once she's out of your hands, you can't really make progress. So that's my priority, really, is to keep her in that position where we can.
That was like I said, you know, back when we were having such difficulties, I thought I was going to lose her. I was just I really did. There was no hope. There was no hope. You know, and you just constantly turned away from doctors, and people search for something wrong, but they can't help you. So we were just in a world of hurt. And I always believed in homeopathy. You know, we did try 2 other homeopathic doctors, and I did the diet, the gluten-free diet, casein-free, soy-free, sugar, you know, any free, you know, that we could do, and elimination diets and
Biomed?
I mean,
Remind me, did
what?
you do any chelation, or I can't remember?
Yes, we tried the Andy Cutler's chelation for 10 rounds, and they said you should see some difference in 10 rounds. And I tell you, that 10 rounds about killed me, just trying to get up in the night and manage your symptoms and everything. I mean, I don't know how people do it. I just don't. I didn't see anything. I didn't see all the biomedical stuff, all the vitamins and all that expensive stuff I bought. I never saw a change. Never, nothing.
And some people do see some wonderful stuff from ACC.
Right.
But I think in Taylor's case, she was it was almost like she was in a state where there was an obstruction. Something was obstructing any movement in her case. Because you've been through homeopathy a number of times, haven't you? And you should begin to see something. You should see some movement. But now and again, I applaud people who keep sticking with it, because you can go through a number of different therapies and get nowhere, and you still got to keep trying, and you have to keep trying.
Exactly.
Yours is a great example of that, because it wasn't plain sailing between us, was it, at the beginning? There was no way plain sailing.
No, we had to keep stopping all the detoxes and keep going and stopping. And I'm used to just keep going forward, and I just feel like this is the best option, and I believe in it. And then the detoxing just makes so much sense. I mean, you know that there's things that have to be corrected, and there's nothing else out there that can help that. I mean, to get these, you know, because it's so gentle. And then I'm just like, and she still had a hard time, but you're so there with me working through it, that I feel confident that I can call you, or I can text you, and there's, you know, you're going to get back with me, and I don't feel alone. So then I wanted to keep going.
I think that's a really important part of it. And, you know, I find it really uncomfortable when things aren't working. I kind of need my rate at which things are working in most appointments. I log it very carefully after every appointment, and I highlight every case where there's movement in the case and where there isn't, and then I count it up each month, and I work out my percentage where I see definite movement each month. So it's about 83 to 85% on average, and I'm still not quite satisfied. I just, the horror of opening a call and nothing's happened, or, you know, and so I don't like aggravation. I don't want to see any aggravations if I can help them. So all the time I'm trying really hard just to sort of hone it so we can get the detox happening without too much aggravation. So you've got to think about liver, constipation, the adrenal system, all those different things. And we've tweaked everything with her. I'm just looking back at her notes. We kind of tweaked everything with her, because I see that you were quite nervous at the beginning, because I can see I gave you quite a few prescriptions that you didn't give. I've put them in green, so I can tell that you were a bit nervous at the beginning. I can look back.
Yeah, very nervous. I thought I was going to miss something, or I wasn't explaining it right. And then we've talked so much that you always take your time, and I've always gotten to, you know, explain myself more. So, I mean, it's hard, you know, in the beginning, because you don't know, you're trying to explain everything that's happened in this time. It's it was overwhelming, but then we got through it. And but all the major points that I wanted for Taylor have been improving. You know, sleep, bowel movement, you know, behavior, communication. She is saying more words. I mean, like I said, she's repeating. I mean, we were watching a Baby Einstein movie. She still likes those signing movies, and she's just like saying the names of the animals. I wasn't even prompting her. You know, she's like pig, and she's like oink oink, and I'm like,
she wanted to. That was the big change that we saw last month, is that she wants to be speaking, doesn't she? That she's going out of her way to do it. She's doing it without being prompted. I remember that's what you told me last time I saw you. Is that she's not being prompted to speak. She's just speaking. So I like that. It's really good.
She comes to me, you know, she wants her blanket, she'll sign it, and it's amazing, because that's what I wanted. You know, she has to know that if she comes to me, she, you know, or an adult doesn't have, and at school she's been requesting things, and that's the thing you want for your child, you know, like you just, you know, we want, I'm excited to see what's going to happen, you know, like if we can keep going on this path. I mean,
when
what,
we get
you know,
to that metals detox, that's going to make a massive amount of difference to language. Very often this is where we see, well, vaccines as well, because they contain metals, but when we get to metals is a bit far down, because if you come straight in at metals, quite often you just get some big aggravations. And I you know how I work, you've been working with me for a year, you know how I work. But I, you know, kind of want to get certain obstructions out the way first. And so with experience, you begin to know which things are more obstructive than others. And I also work with Ton Janssen's work, where he's made a hierarchy of ways to detox, what to detox first to avoid aggravations and obstructions. Because wherever you have obstructions, you get aggravations. And an obstruction could be that her bowels aren't moving, for example. We eventually did get her bowels moving quite well, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like all those major things we've been really improved. Yes. Yeah. I still have to give her magnesium, but not to the extent of what was happening. Like I said, it was, you know, diarrhea to, you know, hard stool, and now it just seems to be balancing out.
And also I remember that she started her periods, didn't she? She started in this period of time. And had she started them just when we started? Let me have a look.
It was March of last year, so exactly a year almost ago.
She regressed after MMR, didn't she? See, I've got my initial notes. I made just a little summary of her initial notes. So before the first appointment, because before I saw you for the first appointment, we started the steroid detox because we knew we were going to need to do it. And also I wanted to do Thuya with you because I knew that she'd not responded previously to homeopathy. And so we that's where we're going. And also some bowel repair work. So then I've got, she was 12 at the time, wasn't she? She's 13 now. We've been working since February 2017. First time I saw her was May. But when you and I first spoke for 15 minutes was February 2017.
Oh, okay. Now I remember.
So we've got, I've written 12-year-old girl, severe non-verbal autism, normal until 1 year, regression after MMR. She has ADHD, extreme anxiety, pica, has to be supervised continually because of the pica. Because she was drinking out of like soap bottles and stuff, wasn't she?
Yeah. Hand sanitizer and soap is her main thing. But
she's largely given that up, has she? She's largely stopped that.
For the most part, but it seems like when she's in an unfamiliar environment or something that she hasn't seen or she'll see something and she'll go right for it. She'll go right for the hand sanitizer. And I'm just like, I don't know. I hope she can get over this. But yeah, it's gotten better.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it's been there for a long time, and if it's been there for a long time, it'll be one of the symptoms that goes last because it came earliest. So you remember about the layers theory, where you've got layers. So we take away each layer, and that's why you begin to sometimes see old symptoms coming back as well. You go back into, you think, I recognise this. This is how it was when she was about 5 or 6, but pica's probably sort of early on, isn't it? It came in. So it'll be one of the last things to go. So she was pretty angry and aggressive when she had menstrual pains, when she had period pains. So we used Magfos for her, didn't we? Help her with the pain. Yeah, that's it. So let me just have a look at what we recorded last time, and then I'll have a look at my questions. So her notes from last time is I've got the word peaceful and exclamation marks, 4 of them. that's it. It started with peaceful exclamation marks, which I'd never expected to hear the word peaceful from you.
Right, I know. Me neither. I mean, me neither. Totally.
And she can handle no. She's more compliant.
Yes.
Joyous to teach at school, you said. Yeah,
that's what the teacher said, and I'm just blown away by how like she's able to wait. You know, up to 5 minutes, and it's just amazing.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What we're looking at is we're seeing brain inflammation coming down. This is why she's not. I think she probably just had a huge amount of head pain the whole time.
Oh, I imagine.
I'm sure that's what it is. Comes with the head banging and
yeah. There's
is
definitely
she doing that thing where she walks into the room it's called glaring, where she looks out the corner of her eye when she comes into the room. Yeah, because I've been doing quite a lot of research on that, and there's some idea that this is very common in autistic children to sort of to do side viewing, as it's known. They do this side viewing, and there's quite a lot of research to suggest that they actually don't have vision in the center, or the vision's not correct in the center, and it's to do with, just like apraxia, you know, the inability to coordinate speech is to do with the state of the brain. Dyspraxia, you know, the inability to coordinate muscles of the body, etc. And I think this is almost like a dyspraxia similar thing, that they just can't coordinate sight properly, and they're coming and they're looking through the corner of the eye, because some don't have peripheral vision, and some children have very good peripheral vision but no central vision. The vision. And there's also that avoidance as well. Eye contact is difficult because it's too intense. The eyes they're not kind of calibrated. The sensory system is calibrated properly.
Yeah,
this
that makes sense.
So keep an eye on that, because I'm really interested to see, as we work, to see this clearing going.
Yeah.
The clearing of the glaring, I'm thinking.
Yeah. That would be awesome, because it looks painful. It looks like she's always.
Yeah, it must be uncomfortable to constantly be doing this. It's quite uncomfortable. For you and I, it would be very uncomfortable. I think her eyes are probably used to doing that, aren't they?
Yeah. But see, now she's also, has an intellectual disability. So I can imagine with all these problems, how can you focus on something, It's hard. I can't imagine.
And what have they said at school about her progress? They're happy with her progress, intellectual progress. They think she's doing some catch up, or there's still a lot of work to do.
Not what I've seen. I've seen she's just extremely behind. She never made any progress academically.
She still hasn't?
No, she's still like at a preschool level.
Yeah.
So I imagine, she can very shakily write her name.
Yeah.
But I mean, it takes such effort for her to do anything. I can't imagine. And but yeah, she hasn't shown that she can count up to 10 and simple things, but she hasn't really shown that she can make any real progress that way. So
where would you put her mental age? Have you an idea what kind of mental age she has currently?
Well, I mean, 3, like a preschooler age.
Yeah. So that's where we'd like to see lots more progress. So one of the questions of what are you hoping for? That was one of my questions. So what are you actually hoping for in the long run?
Well, like when you were talking about I think she's comprehending things more too, because I'll say, tell her to do something and she actually will do it, if it's simple commands.
Yeah.
But hoping for her, just, of course, all those things that we were talking about, and I want her to lose weight from the medication, and just mainly the behaviors to get better, and her to communicate more, and just to be able to live a better quality of life, so she can be out in the community and get some job or something and live a good life. I mean, I don't wish any of this on anybody, because it's such a hard life. It's extremely hard.
And it seems to me, she was clearly neurotypical till she was 1. And it seems to me that's her path, and we've got to try and get her as far back to that path as we can achieve, because that's where she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be there, so we just try to get her further back towards that, so she can do some more catch up academically, and just to be out of pain and more happy. I mean, the fact that she's peaceful means that she's largely out of pain. We know that much, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, because I always struggled with that. If I could just have this child to not have this pain or this suffering. And I can't imagine, I don't know, is it like a constant headache to have that inflammation?
I suspect that's what it is. When you see all the head banging, it's just, and sometimes during detox, if somebody's a bit constipated, some children will start having more symptoms like that during a homeopathic detox. We tend to sort of stop at that point and let them catch up, but tend to put things in place to avoid that happening. Like Taylor's always had Nux vomica in a low potency detox, hasn't she? And I think that makes a big difference for her, just to the liver and so on. But without that, you can see sort of head banging and brain inflammation returning, and we'd rather not see that. But I do think it is. I think it is pain. I think that's exactly what it is. And if you've got brain inflammation, you're going to have pain, aren't you? It's going to be a nasty headache.
Yeah, and it's hard. I wish I could understand more what she's going through.
Yeah.
But I mean, that breaks your heart. That's the hardest part. Like, why can't I just understand what she wants, or what is she in pain? And that's the hardest part. Is she in pain? And I just don't want her to be suffering like that. So.
And she, before would just come to you and scream. Yeah. She would come and shriek.
Yeah.
You had to try and guess all the time what she needed, because she would shriek instead of anything else. Yeah. But now she'll come and she'll indicate things and use words and make requests. Yeah. So she's in a lot better place if she can coordinate all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I put independently ask for what she wants with exclamation marks. Previously just screamed. And she can repeat what she's asked to repeat. More clarity in her speech, some slurring. Awesome bowel movements without magnesium this week. Lots of exclamation marks. I must have been very pleased.
Yeah.
Increased melatonin, no trazodone, weaning off risperidone. Sleep is good, but some waking between 2 and 4 a.m., which again tells us kind of liverish. Toe walking returned, an old symptom. She carried on doing that, is it?
Yeah, she's still not as bad as it was the other week, but still doing that. And I don't know if I mentioned, but she always, since she was an infant, she'd always pull at my ears, and she's still I mean, I would just love it if she could just show affection without squeezing and
pinching
my ears.
I saw the other day a symptom for pinching, and I just put it because I keep my own repertory, because as I have told you before, there's no repertory for autism, because autism has got, all the symptoms of autism are fairly new, so they're just not in our books. And so as an autism specialist, you have to just keep bringing these things together. And I found lots of different symptoms, mental symptoms about pinching. The other day, I was like, yes, I found these. So I sort of slashed them aside. I was thinking of Taylor on that occasion. Yeah, so she had a long shiver, which was almost like an involuntary movement that just arrived.
I was doing this.
Been and gone, or still there?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it this week.
Okay, so that's just in and out. That's good, because we've got 2 types of retracing. That's not an old symptom, that's a new symptom. But if it's an old symptom, I see 2 types. Old symptoms, great news when you see an old symptom, like toe walking coming back, because we know we've removed a layer and she's back somewhere in the past, if you like, before she gained that layer. So we know we've removed one, which we've got lots to remove. So it's really nice to see. So you can have one, like a retracing that just comes and it stays, and you have to have a remedy. And you stay, so the toe walking is staying. It's going to be one of the symptoms that tells us her next remedy. She's done beautifully on borax, hasn't she? This last remedy she had nicely. Then you can have a returning symptom, a retracing that comes. The body is strong enough to overcome it, and it goes again. I always call it an echo. So you would have, like, a child who's had a lot of ear problems in the past. You'd have a sudden ear pain. Doesn't last very long. Maybe they'll spike a fever, then it goes down, and then it's gone. And their body's been strong enough to take them through that stage, through that little bit there. So the toe walking's a retracing, but I don't think it's echoing. I think it's staying put, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that'll come into our next one. We've got things like allium cepa and opium. There's quite a few different remedies with toe walking. There's not so many of them though, because it's quite a peculiar symptom. There's not too many remedies have it, so it's useful.
Oh.
Yeah, really useful. So we got flickering and rolling eyes and mouth. She's still glaring, still side viewing when she enters the room.
Yeah.
Is the flickering and rolling the eyes and the mouth, has that finished with the, she had it with the long shiver, I think. The whole thing's gone.
Yeah, I think it's fading. Yeah, I think it's fading. It's not as I'm not noticing it as much. Yeah.
And then but another note, which was no longer using Motrin. And
right.
You were using a lot of Motrin in the past.
Oh yeah.
It
was sad because it was every time that she had a meltdown, if it lasted a long enough time, I would be grabbing that and thinking, oh, maybe she has cramps, maybe she has a headache.
Yeah.
And that was just like mind blowing to know that I hadn't grabbed that in a long time.
How many months? Yeah. How many months since Motrin?
Well, I guess only a month, but still,
it's good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Because the less toxins going in, the less we have to detox in the long run.
Right.
And the cleaner her body is. So that's what we're aiming for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So why did you decide, even this is one of my questions on here, why did you decide to keep trying? Even when because you said you knew homeopathy worked, but I remember going back that it wasn't working for Taylor in the previous 2 times, is that right?
Right, it didn't work at all. Even my mom, when I was discussing it with her last night, she says, I don't know how you stuck with it. It doesn't make any sense. But then I'm like, I don't know why I stuck with the diet way too long. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I just don't want to give up. And if I don't have a new plan, I am just going to keep trying.
Yeah.
But I just, in the back of my head, I just, I always ask for guidance, and I'm just like, and homeopathic just keeps coming back. I just keep thinking like somebody's trying to tell me something, like, just give it another shot. Your plan is different, way different than the other ones I had done. I mean, you're doing the detoxing and he was just prescribing remedies, and he was not familiar with autism. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I think most, oops, here, 1 second. Most, it's just telling me we've got 10 minutes. Most, what was I going to say? I was going to say most homeopaths, you can do anything. I mean, we always say as a homeopath, you just use the symptoms. So you kind of like, we don't need a diagnosis. We can just use the symptoms. But I think there comes a time with some conditions where it really, really helps to have experience, because with homeopathy, it's not so simple always as just doing classical remedies. And I come from a classical school. I studied with George Vitorka's postgraduate, and that's very classical, and it was really hard for me to come away from that. But all I could see, I mean, I worked very closely with Alan Freestone, and all I could see was what he was doing works. And eventually he would say to me, well, eventually you're going to have to try this out, because, I can't be dogmatic about it. So eventually I tried it out because I could see from his results that it was working. You can't stop somebody having that because you don't believe that's how it should be done. You have to follow the results. So you have to go where the results are. And I think what brings you back possibly to homeopathy each time is because it can't do any harm.
It's the safest.
Yeah,
it's easy, it's the safest, and I just believe, I mean, it has such a long history. I mean, they used it way back in the Civil War, I read. And I mean, if they believed in it, why can't I? And I believe in modern medicine, except for in certain cases. But I mean, there's something to be said when they natural cures can cure, and they don't want you to believe that. We're so brainwashed. We are so brainwashed.
And there's been homeopathy has been suppressed since its very beginning because it does offer a great alternative to pharmacy. You see, and way back 200 years ago, they were having the same battles we're having now with the pharmaceutical companies, if you like, the apothecaries.
Yep.
So I'm going to wind it up now because I haven't paid for the for the paid version of Zoom yet, and it's just said to me, "You got 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes of a free one left." So one day, if I use, because I only ever use Zoom for about 40 minutes, don't I? It's not much longer. But this is what we use to.
This is kind of like we're just talking, and just this is how we usually are. Yeah.
It is exactly how we usually are, and I don't think anyone else came in, so we might be on our own.
I hope I didn't mess it up.
No, you did a beautiful job. You did a great job, per usual. I think, we haven't even been giving you any homeopathy, but you are so much sparkier than when I met you. You were so much, there's so much more confidence, and you're so much brighter. I think you're a new person. Out. You are. You're glowing.
You've made our lives much better, Sally.
It's been my pleasure. It's been my absolute pleasure. And my basic thing is justice. I hate injustice. I was like it from a small child, and when I hear about children who've been on a normal path, and then they've been subverted from it, and I do believe people know that vaccination does this, and whether they think herd immunity is for the harm to one for the best of all, I don't even believe that myself, but I'll do them a service. This is the best service I can do, is that's what they think's going on, but actually I think it's a nasty economic thing. But I just can't, I feel like I can't rest until she's back on, and I'm guessing you feel like you can't rest till she's back on her.
Because I feel like you are just so driven, and you care so much, and it just
I do.
Fuels me to keep going.
But that's why it's so hard, and I have to be really I have to work really hard with my boundaries to sort of be able to cope with those appointments where somebody comes and says nothing has worked. they absolutely kill me, and I have to get sort of better at dealing with those, so I can continue doing what I'm doing, because kids are suffering, and you want to stop that soon. You see the child is suffering, and you don't want to see them continue to suffer. So
I'm so glad that you've stuck with it, because I can't, it's so hard to people to understand what this is all about, and it takes time, just like it takes a lot of time and patience.
It does. I think my light's gone really funny here. I think it's because that's better. Because the sun's shining really well now. I think you've really got to. So many people change tack. They go to another practitioner, and they go to another practitioner.
Another one.
Even when I've got cases that are going really well, people will sort of get up and jump ship. And it's not just with my practice, it's in every practice of all the different homeopaths I know who deal with autism. And I think, it's hard work. It's hard work healing. Even when you make it as easy as we can, it's always hard work. There is a financial outlay. It's much cheaper than biomedical, but there's still a financial outlay. And it takes a lot of energy. It's hard work, isn't it? And sometimes people just want a break, or life gets in the way, or finances get in the way. So when you stick to it, you get the results.
But there's never, like, especially with hard kids like Taylor, I mean, there's never those big wow moments. You have to put them all together and then look at the big picture. You can't just say,
you've been so patient. But like you said, you don't really have a huge number of alternatives, so stick with it.
No, and I'm so happy that we've done this, because I just was searching, and I had a feeling I should stick with it. So
and we'll get more. Right, it's going to cut me off now, I think.
Okay.
And I put on when I came in, one of the settings is a vanity setting that I didn't realize it's on, and I look really freaky because I've got no, where are my wrinkles? So I've been looking at myself and thinking, God, I must go and find the vanity thing and turn it off, because it's actually horrible looking at it.
I think you look great.
I look a bit plastic. I'd rather see myself as I am.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure either way it looks good.
Cheers. You look wonderful.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. It was so good talking with you.
Yeah, you too. You too. And I'll see you soon. And I'll probably see you in the support group in the meantime, perhaps.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cheers.
Right.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.